I'm Amy Goodman from Democracy Now!
Right.
Can you tell us what you think about President Trump saying climate change is a Chinese hoax?
I'm sorry, I'm running late for a meeting. Thanks.
Right, but you weren't running late when you were just standing there, so.
My first impressions of Amy.
What did you say to those who say that you're a war criminal?
Man, she doesn't care what anybody thinks.
Don't push me. I'm a journalist here.
Independent media is the oxygen of a democracy.
What do you mean by independent?
Not being sponsored by corporations.
Amy's chaotically brilliant at the spy game.
We began on 9 radio stations.
If she believes something, she's going to fight for it and get it out to the world. Straight up journalism.
It came from my Jewish education that you ask questions.
Sharif, can you talk about what's happened on the Gaza Strip? From Ground Zero from East Timor, as we deplane in Haiti, from Georgia's death row prison.
We had to smuggle in our recording equipment. This was extremely dangerous. We're accusing a powerful American corporation of murder.
Without any warning, the military opened fire on the protesters. They put the guns to our heads. It is critical that we expose what is done in our name. Donald Trump understood corporate owners of the media would do anything for money.
She taught me, speak to the people at the target end of the bomb, speak to those who are being deliberately silenced.
When you hear someone speak, it's less likely you'll want to destroy them.
We expand the frame and center those voices.
There is a great force that would like to silence us.
The press is the enemy of the people.
We're not tolerating fake news no more. And we're not going to let it happen.
Cari fratelli e sorelle, dall'Iran e da tutto il Medio Oriente.
Dear brothers and sisters, news continues to arrive from Iran and from the whole Middle East that causes deep concern. In addition to the episodes of violence and devastation and the widespread climate of hatred and fear, there is the fear that the conflict will spread and that other countries in the region, including dear Lebanon, may sink again into instability.
Possano sprofondare nuovamente nell'instabilità. Eleviamo la nostra umile preghiera.
We raise our humble prayer to the Lord that the clamor of bombs may cease, that weapons may fall silent, and that a space for dialogue may open up in which the voice of the peoples can be heard.
La voce dei popoli.
With some breaking news that we've got from Gaza. We were mentioning it before. Our colleague from Al Jazeera, Mubasher Mohammed Wisha, has been killed after his car was hit in an Israeli drone strike. And we can see some of the pictures there that are apparently of his car, the aftermath of that attack. We understand, as I say, that it was an Israeli drone strike. There have been many drone strikes that have been carried out by Israel since the ceasefire was originally signed in October of last year. I want to come back to our two guests here. Israel is carrying out in Lebanon, it's carrying out attacks in the West Bank, it has been carrying attacks in Iran, and of course it is continuing to carry out attacks in Gaza as well.
That is very concerning. Obviously, the war with Iran has served as a distraction for Israel to continue aggressions around its border and within the borders.
Yeah.
And so it is very concerning. And of course, this news of the Al Jazeera correspondent.
One of several who have died not only in Gaza, but also in coverage in the West Bank. Paul, let me ask you this. This is a part of a bigger picture about the people who are attempting to try to document what is going on in these conflict areas, in Gaza, in Lebanon, in the West Bank, and also in Iran, where they are being targeted in order to stop them telling those stories.
That's exactly right. And this is one of the tragedies of the world we find ourselves in. When I try to think about what's going on in Iran and this conflict more generally, I have to realize that we are not getting the entire story because it is so hard for information to get out. And being unable to see what is happening in the world makes it impossible for ordinary people, citizens around the world, and even leaders to have a good idea about what's going on.
Abraham, what more do we know about what's been happening?
The numbers of Palestinian journalists killed since the war broke out back on October 2023 has risen to 262 journalists killed by the Israeli military. The situation is getting much more dire here in Gaza City in the light of the ongoing Israeli military ceasefire violation. The situation remains here dire, and the distraction during Iran war and Lebanon only lift the situation here in the Gaza Strip to escalate more and more.
Something strange is happening in Chernobyl. The site of the world's worst radiological catastrophe is coming back to life. It's not the residents who are returning or nature taking over, as you may have heard. It's tourists, and they're coming in droves, thanks in part to an American TV show.
Get us over that building, or I'll have you shot!
If you fly directly over that core, I promise you by tomorrow morning you'll be begging for that bullet.
Tyler Ackley is an American visiting Chernobyl with his father-in-law, in part thanks to the critically acclaimed HBO miniseries dramatizing the disaster that came out earlier this year. The series brought not just the chronology of the disaster into tragic relief, it also exposed the top-heavy Soviet bureaucracy that tried to hide the scope of the accident from its own people and from the world. But graphic scenes from the miniseries, which we won't show here, have inexplicably failed to deter visitors from the exclusion zone, as the area around Chernobyl, where habitation is forbidden, is known.
We did some research to see how dangerous it is from the radiation, and we saw that with the tours it will be safe.
Serhiy Mirny, founder of one of several travel agencies bringing people to Chernobyl, told us there's been a dramatic increase in interest.
Well, this miniseries has increased the interest to the Chernobyl zone. We predict that it will be like 30% increase, and so with the effect of the HBO miniseries, we expect 150,000 visitors in the zone in this year.
So these are our personal dosimeters. They're supposed to tell the researchers here how much every tourist absorbs in terms of radiation during their trip to the Chernobyl exclusion zone. We're right at the checkpoint right now, and from here, it's to the reactor.
This is territory with radiological contamination, and it is very...
Guides do what they can to reassure nervous visitors about the dose of radiation they'll get on a typical day trip to the exclusion zone.
Do you know to which material our bodies produce radiation? This is potassium-40 or calcium, contained in our favorite fruits, bananas and nuts as well.
But the reassurances also come with a warning not to stray from approved routes in case you blunder into a radioactive hotspot.
Underneath this brand new shelter behind me is Chernobyl reactor number 4, which in 1986 exploded and sent lethal doses of radioactive material throughout the exclusion zone. But as you can see, it's actually not that exclusive.
The draw is obvious. Chernobyl is billed as an open-air museum of the Soviet era, uninhabited for 33 years, since Mikhail Gorbachev was in charge. Frozen in time, taken over by nature. As of September, more than 90,000 people have visited. It's already well above the number of people who decided to brave Chernobyl in the whole of 2018, according to the Exclusion Zone Administration. Chernobyl lies now in an independent Ukraine. Then, it was the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. And for Ukrainians, who are all too familiar with the consequences of the disaster, the show has served as a fresh reminder of what life was like under Moscow rule.
The HBO miniseries has reminded many Ukrainians about necessity to have controls of their lives, of their country, closer to their own hands, because it's a terrible feeling when you are only to rely on somebody else's decision who is very, very remote and may or may not care about you at all.
For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Simon Ostrovsky in the Chernobyl exclusion zone.
Home to more than 50,000 people, South Haven, Mississippi is a quiet suburb. That is, residents say, until Elon Musk's AI power plant came to town. For months now, this is the sound communities near the plant hear. All day and night.
It sounds like jets are taking off and they never take off.
Coming from dozens of methane turbines sent to power Elon Musk's AI data center. Crystal Polk's family has lived here for generations, before Black people were even allowed to own property.
What has life been like for you since the turbines came to town?
Excruciating. The noise is constant. It never ends.
This is the noise level that we are experiencing at 9 o'clock at night.
And it's not just a concern over noise, but air pollution too. Nonprofit newsroom Floodlight published this thermal drone footage, which they say shows the gas burning at the facility. The Environmental Protection Agency has said gas turbines are a major source of hazardous air pollutants, including formaldehyde and other probable human carcinogens. The Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality telling NBC News right now they've confirmed the facility is utilizing efficient air pollution control technology to minimize emission, despite operating without an air permit for months, which the department said wasn't required for the initial temporary turbines.
We don't really know how bad this pollutant is right now.
Jason Haley has doubts.
Do you worry it could be bad?
Yes, I do. You shouldn't put this right next to people's neighborhoods.
He co-founded the Safe and Sound Coalition, a group trying to stop those turbines from becoming permanent.
It's March 5th at 12:10 a.m.
He says people like this officer come by every few hours to take decibel readings, but that the readings don't tell the whole story.
We took a decibel reading down at the park, and it was like in the 50s, 60s, which is equivalent to the hum of a dishwasher, which might not sound like much to people.
I've heard the comparison to this isn't much louder than my dishwasher or my vacuum cleaner. It's louder than that. Well, you don't run that 24/7.
XAI did not respond to NBC News' request for comment about the Mississippi plant and residents' concerns. South Haven's mayor called the noise a legitimate concern and says XAI installed a $7 million sound wall and is considering more mitigation. He also emphasized the economic impact.
Our city and entire community will soon reap unprecedented financial benefits from this new strategic alliance.
XAI plans to spend more than $20 billion in the area, the governor announced, bringing with it much-needed jobs. But Jason and Crystal are not alone in their worry. Hundreds of people showed up to the state hearing in South Haven, urging officials to reject XAI's bid for 41 permanent gas turbines. This month, Mississippi regulators unanimously approved those permanent turbines, which the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality says will require an air permit. On X, Elon Musk said he was thrilled it was approved, adding it powers the future of AI innovation. A future the residents we spoke to say will cost them their own.
I can't live with this. I'm going to have to move.
Tell me more about what's happening for you right now.
It's just the thought that this may be the end of something that's been in my family for years. And I feel like we don't matter to those who are in charge, that we are invisible to them.
Priscilla Thompson, NBC News, South Haven, Mississippi.
A former deep-sea treasure hunter who spent more than a decade in prison is now free. Federal records show Tommy Thompson was released from federal prison last week. Back in 1988, he was found what was known as the Ship of Gold off the South Carolina coast. The ship sank in a hurricane in 1857. Investors who funded the search for the wreck sued Thompson in 2005 after he sold gold bars and thousands of coins for about $50 million. Thompson had been held in contempt of court since 2015 for refusing to reveal what happened to 500 missing gold coins.
Welcome to the wild and majestic landscapes of Western Mongolia, a land where ancient traditions soar literally with wings of gold. In this remote corner of the Altai Mountains, the Kazakh eagle hunters of Mongolia have preserved a practice dating back over 2,000 years, the art of hunting with golden eagles. These are no ordinary birds. The golden eagle, revered for its strength and loyalty, is trained from a young age to hunt foxes and hares in the snow-covered valleys. The bond between hunter and eagle is sacred, built on mutual trust, discipline, and a deep respect for nature. Every autumn, this centuries-old tradition takes center stage at 3 major eagle festivals held in Mongolia's Bayanolgi province. The Altai Eagle Festival kicks off the season in early September in Altai village. It's the most intimate and local event where authentic Kazakh families showcase their heritage against the backdrop of towering peaks. Then comes the Sagsai Eagle Festival, held in late September in Sagsai village. This festival is beloved for its community spirit and thrilling competitions, from eagle calling to traditional horse games. Finally, the most famous, the Golden Eagle Festival, takes place on the first weekend of October, just outside Altai city. This grand event draws hunters, spectators, and photographers from around the world. Here, over 100 eagle hunters gather to compete, celebrate, and honor their ancient craft. These festivals are more than competitions. They are a living tribute to Kazakh culture, featuring traditional dress, archery, horsemanship, and throat singing. They reflect not only the power of the golden eagle, but also the endurance of nomadic heritage in the modern age. In a rapidly changing world, the Mongolian Eagle Festivals remind us of something timeless. A golden bond between people, animals, and the mountains they call home. Join us at Mongolia's Eagle Festivals to photograph eagle hunters and their majestic birds against the stunning backdrop of the Altai Mountains. Travel with the Kerege travel team and witness the spirit of the steppe take flight.
ये सद्भावना सम्मेलन यही बता रहा है कि अगर हमें सद्भावना स्थापित करनी है तो मानव को अपने आप को जानना होगा। अपन को आप ही में पायो, शब्द ही शब्द भयो उजियारो, सतगुरु भेद बतायो, अपन को आप ही में पायो। कि अपने आप को अपने अंदर पाया। आज सबसे बड़ी समस्या यह है कि हम अपने आप को नहीं जानते। एक लकड़हारा था, उसकी झोपड़ी में राजा आ गया। राजा रास्ता भटक गया था। उसने राजा को देखा, राजा का बड़ा सत्कार किया, कहा महाराज पधारो। जो रूखा सूखा था राजा को दिया। राजा बड़ा प्रसन्न हो गया। उसने कहा भाई तुम्हें किसी चीज की आवश्यकता पड़े तो हमारे पास आना। कुछ समय के बाद लकड़हारा जो काम करता था वो यह था कि लकड़ी काटना, उसको जलाना, कोयला बनाना, कोयला बेचना, सारा जंगल उसने जो है काट डाला और लकड़ी बना के जला दिया। अब उसे राजा की याद आई कि महाराज ने मुझसे कहा था भाई कोई कष्ट हो तो मेरे पास आना। वो पहुंचा, राजा के पास पहुंचा कि महाराज मैं बड़े कष्ट में हूं, सारा जंगल जो है कट गया है, मुझे जंगल देने की कृपा करें। राजा ने मंत्री को बुलाया, कहा मंत्री इधर आओ, ये हमारा मित्र है, एक दिन हम बड़ी विपदा में आ गए थे और इसने हमारी रक्षा की, चलो मंत्री जी इसको बड़ा सुंदर जंगल दे दो, सबसे कीमती जंगल दे दो। मंत्री ने बही खाता देखा, उसने कहा महाराज आपके पास सबसे बड़ा कीमती जंगल जो है वो है चंदन का जंगल, द फॉरेस्ट ऑफ सैंडलवुड। राजा ने कहा हमारे मित्र को तुम चंदन का जंगल दे दो। मंत्री ने कागजात तैयार करके और उस लकड़हारे को चंदन का जंगल दे दिया। कुछ समय बाद राजा को याद आई, उसने सोचा भाई मेरा मित्र तो अब बड़ा पैसे वाला हो गया होगा, मैंने उसको चंदन का जंगल दे दिया, चलो उसके वैभव को देखने चले। और राजा पहुंचा तो क्या देखता है कि वो लकड़हारा वही लकड़ी काट रहा है और उसका कोयला बना के कोयला बेच रहा है। अरे राजा ने कहा तो ये तो चंदन के महत्व को जानता ही नहीं है। राजा ने एक लकड़ी का टुकड़ा लिया, कहा रे लकड़हारे हमारे मित्र हो तुम, इसको जरा बेच के आओ। लकड़हारा कहता महाराज मुझसे क्यों मजाक कर रहे हो, ये कोयला तो बिकता नहीं, ये टुकड़ा क्या बिकेगा लकड़ी का। राजा ने कहा देखो हम तुम्हारे मित्र हैं, तुम्हारा शुभ चाहते हैं, तुम्हारा मंगल चाहते हैं, चलो तुम इसको ले जाओ। जैसे ही लकड़हारा वो चंदन की लकड़ी ले गया, उसमें से फ्रेग्रेंस निकल रही थी, खुशबू निकल रही थी। अरे लोगों ने कहा भाई चंदन की लकड़ी आ गई, बड़ी खुशबू आ रही। लकड़हारे ने जब चंदन की लकड़ी निकाली तो लोगों ने कहा अरे भाई हम इसका पैसा देते हैं। कोई कहने लगा 1000 रुपए देता हूं, कोई कहता 1500। लोग कहने लगे अरे काहे ठगते हो, इसको हम 2000 रुपए देते हैं। लकड़हारा आश्चर्यचकित हो गया कि भाई ये छोटा सा टुकड़ा और इतना कीमती, मैंने तो ये सारी लकड़ी फूंक डाली, इसका कोयला बना दिया। वो राजा के पास पहुंचा, का महाराज मैंने बहुत गलती की, ये जो लकड़ी इतनी कीमती है इसका मैं कोयला बना बना के बेचता था और बड़ी मुश्किल से बिकता था, मैं इसके महत्व को नहीं समझ पाया। आप भी इस कथा को सुन के बड़े प्रसन्न हो रहे होंगे और सोच रहे होंगे कि लकड़हारा कितना बड़ा मूर्ख है, इससे बढ़कर तो कोई मूर्ख हो ही नहीं सकता। पर ये कहानी उसकी नहीं है, कहानी हमारी है कि परमपिता परमात्मा रूपी राजा ने हमें ये श्वास रूपी चंदन का जंगल दे रखा है और जिसकी हम कोयला बना रहे हैं। ऑक्सीजन लिया, कार्बन प्लस O2 कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, उसको हम दूषित हवा बना करके बाहर फेंक रहे हैं, बस अपने कोशिकाओं को जला रहे हैं, कोयला बना रहे हैं। इसके महत्व को नहीं समझ पाए, इस प्राण शक्ति के महत्व को नहीं समझ पाए। आज इन्हीं बातों को समझाने के लिए महापुरुष आते हैं।
It's an extraordinary claim by the Ukrainian leader. For the first time since the war began, Volodymyr Zelensky says Ukrainian forces were able to retake territory seized by the Russians using only an army of robots. Zelensky, appearing in a heavily produced video address on Monday, said the enemy position was captured by ground systems and drones without infantry involvement and without losses on the Ukrainian side. The president also revealing that drones have carried out roughly 22,000 missions on the front lines just in the past 3 months. In other words, said Zelensky, lives were saved more than 22,000 times when a robot went into the most dangerous areas instead of a warrior. Among experts, both the announcement and the video were met with cautious skepticism. Is this a slick PR move, or is this an actual significant breakthrough in the battlefield?
It's both a slick PR move and a breakthrough in the battlefield. There have been some real advances in Ukraine that I think are very notable, but there is an awful lot of public relations and, frankly, marketing involved in this latest video.
In January, defense manufacturer DevDroid posted this video, saying it showed a ground robot equipped with artificial intelligence taking 3 Russian soldiers captive. The Ukrainian battalion posting this similar video, which appears to be from the same incident. How much territory Ukraine was able to recapture and how many Russian soldiers surrendered as a result of the operation lauded by Zelensky is unclear.
I think the Ukrainians are trying to bring a lot of attention to their drone capabilities. Recently, they began assisting American forces in the Middle East. I think this video is capitalizing on that. I think the actual tactical event was probably a little bit smaller than we're led to believe through this video.
Zelensky is in Europe this week, meeting with allies and looking to make more arms deals. In response, Russia's defense ministry saying today that European plans to increase drone supplies to Ukraine are dragging those countries into a war with Russia at an ever faster pace.
All right, Danielle joins Top Story tonight. Danielle, Ukraine is preparing for even more high-tech warfare beyond these robots?
Yeah, the UK announcing today it is going to be sending 120,000 drones to Kyiv by the end of the year. The Ukrainians will be receiving their biggest ever shipment of drones by the UK, and that it will include long-range strike drones, logistics, intelligence, and reconnaissance drones.
Danielle Hamamjian for us tonight. Danielle, we thank you for that.
So we lost a loved one. Her name was Carol. The spouse of Reed, the mother of Katie and Ellie. And if you want to find this one, you look at Glushko, and it's just to the northwest of that, at the same latitude as Ohm, and it's a bright spot on the moon. And we would like to call it Carol.
Wow. Not a dry eye in the control room when that happened, and even here, an emotional moment for the Artemis II crew, because what you just heard was Mission Specialist Jeremy Hansen radioing to Mission Control to propose names for two unnamed moon craters. One of the names, Carol, the late wife of Commander Reed Weissman, who you see on your screen. And the crew could be seen wiping tears from their eyes as Hansen spoke, his voice breaking at times. Carol died from cancer in 2020, leaving behind her husband and two daughters. Commander Weissman spoke to our Mark Strassman before this mission's launch about how his wife supported him on his journey as an astronaut, even as she was starting to get sick.
I wanted to move us back towards where her family was from, and she's like, no, this is where you work, this is the job you love, this is where you work, and this is where our kids are growing up, and we are going to stay right here. To me, that was marching orders. That day, that was marching orders to continue down this path.
Here's a look at those craters. The proposed name for the second one, Integrity, after the crew's spacecraft. NASA says after the mission is completed, the crater name proposals will be formally submitted to the organization that governs the naming of celestial bodies and their surface features. Let's bring in retired NASA astronaut Katie Coleman. She's flown on two space shuttle missions, one of which included a 6-month stay at the International Space Station. And that moment, so moving. How did that moment resonate for you?
It's wonderful, and I think it's wonderful to bring attention to families. Yeah. When I was flying on the space station, I often got asked, how I felt about leaving my family behind on Earth and at a 10-year-old and a 27-year-old. And I was like, it's hard. It's really hard.
I think probably behind every astronaut is a family who they can only do this because of that love and support that they get. What can you tell us about the relationships that they're building up there?
You can just tell, they understand the responsibility and the privilege that they have to be these people. I can see how they are going not just the extra mile, but the extra marathon to bring everyone else with them. It's just so clear that everyone but us is down there, and if only they knew how connected they could be, and if we could help do that, then we've really done our job.
You almost feel like you're going on this with them, just from the little details. Every almost thought that they have is being broadcast down to us, which probably for them is a blessing and a curse.
Well, and I think that relationship actually brings itself into the technical as well. What they're doing is hard. I think this is a grueling day, even though they're so happy with this work, and you can tell the ground is thrilled and learning things they never even thought they would with these observations, and it's clear the crew is really well trained. But to the technical tasks, it's hard, and often the ground is saying, hey, we'd like you to do this, and I can hear that little bitty silence like, okay, not what we planned, but if that's what you need, that's what we will do. And it's that relationship that they have together that helps them accomplish the technical part of this mission as well.
Katie Coleman, we will talk to you again. Thank you so much.